everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you're new here, then these videos are a collection of videos for my Silver Arts Award, and I'm currently doing Unit 1 Part B. So I have not posted in so long, honestly. It's been like 3 weeks, almost 4. It's bonkers, I know. But basically what happened is the end of October, the half term there, I was hoping to get a video done, but I was really poorly and I couldn't go out for Halloween, so that was really sad as well. But I couldn't get a video done. I was just in bed all day, every day. And then I got a bit better, but then the day after I was starting to feel better, we were going on holiday. It was all just very inconveniently timed. But thankfully I was better for my holiday, so that was nice. And it was lovely being away for a couple of weeks, especially in the cold. It's so cold here. It's frosty outside. I think it was snowing a couple of days ago. So cold, honestly. I'm freezing. So today's video, I've got the printing of the piece I did last time of the birds, and then reprinting my other piece of the plant, and then the new piece I've carved and printed in the process of doing that, and then a kind of overall look of how I think I've done so far on my project and some future goals that I've set for myself over December. I think that is everything. Yes, it is. Okay. And then I also want to touch into Part C and Part D and some ideas that I have for them. So I think that's everything, and let's begin. So, I'm saying so a lot. I think I do. I use it as a filler word almost. Anyways, let's begin. To begin, I started by printing the design of the birds I did. So, this one here, I keep doing that. I put my hand there where I'm going to put it, but this one over here is the first one I did, and you can see in the background there's quite a lot of chatter. So I went back like usual and I carved out more of the background, and this is the second print. I was a lot happier with the amount of chatter because I quite like a little bit of chatter in the background. I think it gives it a bit more personality almost. But if you look, it's almost quite grey because I didn't have enough ink on my brayer. I think you say it brayer, I'm not really sure. That's what I'm calling it. So I hope it's right. So I was a lot happier, like I said, but I did notice it was very grey because there wasn't enough ink. So I went back, rolled out some more ink and reprinted it, and there was a huge difference. I just literally didn't realise how little ink I had. So here's that third one. And then I'm going to put up a side-by-side comparison as well, just so you can see how different it is. And I've definitely figured out I need to make sure I have enough ink before I print it. Like, one was really grey and one was such this like bold black colour, honestly. So then whilst I had my ink out, I also decided to reprint my piece of the plant, and here's how that one turned out. It's definitely a lot better than last time, and I used a metal spoon instead of a wooden spoon on top of the paper to press it down. And I found it a lot easier and smoother almost. I think it turned out better. So here's a comparison of one of my old prints compared with my new print. And I think it's definitely better. So that was the 4th of November. So that was a couple of weeks ago. A bit more than a couple of weeks ago. Before we went away, basically. So yesterday, well, I don't think it's yesterday anymore by the time I post this, but the 24th of November. So I had to think about what I wanted my next piece to be, obviously. And I wanted it to be something that I felt would help me improve. So the two things I think I'm struggling with most were neat fine lines and depth control, definitely. So I decided to do a mandala. If you don't know what that is, a mandala is what I describe as like a symmetrical pattern of shapes often based around a circular center almost. So here are some like examples of mandalas people have done. I had a look at some of them and I took some inspiration of ones online and I got drawing. So I decided to draw straight onto the lining, so I thought it would just be a little bit easier. And I wanted to do a mandala to be able to practice my fine lines because there's so many patterns and shapes that I thought it'd be really good to try carving out around all of them. My mandala definitely isn't very symmetrical at all, but I don't think that matters too much because I wanted to do it so I could practice carving around my fine lines, and I definitely got to do that. So this here was my finished sketch onto the lino, and it was definitely a lot better than my last one of the birds, because that was very thick lines and it was quite hard to carve around because the lines were so thick. But for this one, I decided to use a mechanical pencil instead of a normal pencil for skinnier lines, thinner lines almost, and it helped loads. It was a lot better. My lines were a lot thinner, which I definitely needed for those really fine carving details. For carving, I mostly use my number 1 blade, which is a small V-shaped blade, just good for thin lines really. And then I also decided to try my number 5 blade, which I hadn't used before. So I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to do with it, because it was a bit of a funny shape. I wasn't quite sure how it was supposed to be used, but I figured, why not give it a go? And I found I could angle it one way and then the opposite way into the lino and almost create like a V that then comes out, so it makes really thin straight lines, like little valleys almost. And it can be a bit hard to explain, understand. So I took a video of what I mean and I'll put that in here. So the carving took me roughly an hour and a half in total, and this was how much I'd carved after an hour. And then I didn't actually take a picture of my finished carving. I completely forgot before I'd inked it, so oh well. And like normal, I then rolled out my ink and I made sure I had enough this time. I had lots on my little plastic tray. I rolled it out onto the lino and put the paper on top. Again, I decided to use a metal spoon to press it down because I thought it was better as well. And I just put a picture of me doing that here. And then this was the finished print. And I'm very happy with how it turned out actually. I didn't have any problems with my depth control in carving, and I think most of my lines were pretty neat. If I was to do another mandala, I think I would try and do it online digitally on my iPad first, on an app like Procreate or like an Arty app or something where I can draw on, with like a symmetry mode on, so I can make sure it's all fully symmetrical, because I think that would make the piece a lot cleaner almost and neater. But it definitely helped me improve my fine lines. As I was getting to the end of the piece, I think I was getting slightly quicker and a lot more confident doing those fine, smooth lines. Okay, so that's it for actual art I've done so far. It's not a lot, definitely, I know, but I've only been home for about 3 or 4 days and I just needed to get something out. So I've decided I'm going to kind of go back to my goals and review them. So my goals. Last time I completed my goal to create a larger design of a bird by the 25th of October. And I think I did that well, definitely. And then my next goal, I said I wanted to create a more intricate design by the 31st of October on traditional lino. So I believe by doing my mandala, I made a more intricate design, definitely. It was very time-consuming carving all the fine lines, but I think it came out really well and it helped me with my fine lines. But it wasn't done by the 31st of October and it was on my easy carve line and not traditional, just because I hadn't had the chance to get some. So my final goal that I'd set was to use different colours in one print by the 7th of November, and this wasn't completed. I didn't have any different colour inks, I just had my black one and 2 little stamp pads, but I think that would be really hard to try and get onto the lino, like the bigger pieces of lino, not just stamping it into the ink. so I didn't complete that. I was away as well for the 7th, so it's not like I could really try and complete it on holiday, obviously. So they were the final goals I created, like I'd said. And I said back then that I'd write some more around this time based on how my challenge was going. So I've written out a little like overall review, of how I think it's going. So in my challenge, I'm quite pleased with my speed I'm progressing. I think the level in lino printing I'm at is good, but I want to move on to the next step almost and develop my skills with different colours on different lino. I think that would really help me progress in lino printing and learn some new techniques and feel how the different linos feel to carve from. So this was written a couple of days ago, so I will read you what it says and then I'll go through what's happened since then. Today, I'm going to head to Hobbycraft and buy a piece of hemp traditional lino and some coloured ink. I'm only going to buy one piece of traditional lino for now, as after a few weeks or months it turns very hard and can't be carved. So by buying just one piece, it will prevent me from wasting it. So like I said, that was a couple of days ago. I have since been to Hobbycraft and I've got a pack of hemp lino. It came with 2 pieces, but they're the biggest pieces I have. They're about I think they're A4 size. They're quite big and I can do some nice big ones with it. And I got a bottle of red ink as well as my black one I already have, because the inks were really expensive. I was surprised, but a 100ml bottle I think was about £7.50. So I was quite surprised by how much the inks actually were, and I wasn't sure what piece I wanted to do with the colour yet. So I thought I'd just get red so I can use it for anything, and I can do red and black and things. So some future goals I've written for December. Now, December can be a very, very busy month for me because I have to work a lot in December, and obviously Christmas is kind of manic and stressful for everybody. So I've decided to space out my goals a bit more so that they're more achievable and more realistic for me to be able to complete. By the 2nd of December, I want to create a print using traditional lino and compare my easy carve and traditional linos, like do a little comparison of the two. By the 12th of December, I want to create a print with multiple colours, and by the 20th of December, I want to create a print with text. Now, why creating a print with text can be harder is obviously when you stamp the lino, it reverses, so you have to mirror your text and then carve it. So I'm only putting down those 3 for now until I've gotten some further guidance from my teacher Lydia as what to do next. And then that is pretty much everything for today, I think. So I wanted to mention that the last video I did, I accidentally set to private, I realised, so I had to delete it and repost it as public. So the date that YouTube says that video was posted is wrong by a few weeks. So if you go onto the video, it will tell you the dates I've done everything. So I'm also going to talk about part C and D, I decided. So part C is writing reviews. Now, some ideas of reviews that I could do. I've been to quite a few concerts. I've been to the Eras tour. That was quite a long time ago though, so I'm thinking not do the Eras tour. I've been to the Short and Sweet tour by Sabrina Carpenter, which was this year, so that wasn't too long ago. I've been to Tate McRae's tour, Miss Possessive. When was that? That was this year. I can't remember when this year, but it was this year. It was after the Short and Sweet tour. And I've been to Coldplay as well. So there are 3 concerts I've been to that I could review. But I'd quite like to do something different as well. I'd like to do 1 or 2 of my concerts, I think, and then something different. So hopefully I can book a workshop or arts event that I can go to. Over Christmas we can go watch some pantomimes hopefully, and I can review a pantomime, which would be nice, or go to like an expedition, lots of Christmas what are they called, like Christmas art markets and stuff. I think I can review one of those. I just need to go over it with my teacher, make sure it's all okay. But that's some of the ideas I had for part C. And then for part D, it's researching an art career and speaking to art contacts. So personally, I was thinking about, I don't know that many, sorry, I've got the hiccups. It's quite a bad time. But I don't know that many art contacts with careers I'd be interested in. Some careers in the arts I'm interested in that I wrote down is cake decorating. I don't know how much that would count though, and I think I'd struggle to make sure I was keeping in just the decorating aspect, not the actual baking aspect. So I don't think that would be very good, because I think I would kind of go off on a tangent and it wouldn't be the right way. Textiles and sewing and dressmaking and stuff like that I think would be really good to look into, and I'd want to do that when I'm older. And then I also put down an author or a poet. Sorry, I can't say the word poet very well. Poet, yeah. Because I really love writing and writing stories and poems and stuff, so I think that would be good to look into. And then I also put down interior design. I'm not sure how much I'd want to do that, but there's some of my ideas. I don't know what interior design would really involve, so it could be interesting to look into. But there's some of the careers that I put down, and what I was going to do is put a little thing out on Facebook asking if anybody knows any local dressmakers or upholsterers, I think that's the word, that would be willing to do an interview. If not, I'll look for local authors in the area and base it off of that. So that is everything for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's been quite long. Well, it's been 20 minutes, so I can't remember how long the last one was, but it feels like I've been talking for a while now. That's all for today. And next time, I'm hoping to have a print done on traditional lino and a short comparison of traditional lino versus easy carve. See you then. Goodbye. Have a good start of December. Yeah, put those Christmas trees up. Goodbye.